The guys preview some of the interesting storylines in the NFL, from the new helmet rules to the factory of sadness and all the quarterbacks in between. Then, is there a statute of limitation on tweets? What if they are vile? Finally, I see if these guys are as smart as they think. All that and more this week on Just Press Play.
The red wasp is after me. Pregnant ladies and little kids better get the hell out of the way, because I am running. I'm like Forrest Gump, dude. I am running. So, the Titanic was the biggest ship on the ocean, but that didn't mean it was unsinkable. Okay. All right.
I want you each to use ombudsman in a sentence next week in our podcast.
I got one for you. My name is Kevin, the official ombudsman of the Just Press Play podcast. You like apples?
All right, here we are. It's another week. We're back, and guys, all right, it's the same crew.
Time.
It's your normal crew, and guys, today we're recording this on Sunday evening. Today is National Wing Day. For lunch, I went and had me some good wings, some good buffalo wings, and I have a question to ask you: boneless or traditional? What do we go with?
Traditional, all day, every day. Makes me feel like
you're a bone in every time.
Bone in.
Yep. Never take the bone out. The bone out.
LJ, Dad, was that you agreeing or?
Okay. As usual, I have an answer on both sides.
Of course, Pops is straddling the fence. You know,
I'm straddling the fence. Okay, I love Wings Day on Wednesday with the boneless wings.
At
I really
Hooters,
do like them.
We'll give them a shout. We'll give them a shout.
Give Hooters a shout out. But those new garlic habanero bone-in grilled wings, bad to the bone. Pun intended, I guess. Yeah, they're smoked. Yeah, garlic habanero, man. Make you slap your mama, but not you two.
Yeah, I ain't slapping my mama, but so you're straddling the fence though. So where? What about the other side? Are you torn?
I would say okay. No, I'm more on the bone in because of the garlic habanero smoked wings. That's what I've had.
Isn't it?
The last 5 times I've been there?
But that's just a sauce. Like if they put that on a boneless
no,
wing,
no. It's but I don't know if it's a sauce, but it's a dry rub kind of. They're not fried.
Oh yeah, you can't really dry rub a nugget.
You can.
You could. So, wait a minute. I'm not buying that just because you say so, LJ. You could dry rub a nugget.
No, a nugget's breaded.
Wingstop does dry. Yes, you can. But that's neither here nor there at the moment. We're not wing experts. We just enjoy consuming them. LJ, you sounded like you had a reason why you always go bone in.
Well, because one is a chicken nugget and one is man's food. So,
do you ever worry about? So the one thing that's nice, I like dipping my wing into some ranch sometimes, more often than not. That makes a boneless wing is a much better for dipping.
Yes, absolutely. True. I would never dip a bone-in wing in anything. You don't dip a bone-in wing. People do it; they're wrong. You don't do it.
Also, another reason why I sometimes go towards boneless is sometimes if you're like, depending on who you're eating with, I feel like there's no clean way for me to eat a good buffalo wing bone in.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to be on my lips. It's going to be on my hands. It's going to be everywhere. And you're just going to, hopefully that it's not like someone, like maybe I'm on a date and someone's going to think I'm a slob. Well, it's just how you eat traditional wings, right?
Here's the thing though, is like if you take your first date or something to a rib shack, then that's a bad idea. If you take your first,
so don't take my first date to Hooters. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm saying like
Wednesday special.
Don't go to Rendezvous Ribs in Memphis on your first date unless you're willing to get a little nasty faced. But then also don't go to a boneless rib place because that doesn't look good either. I think
boneless ribs sound horrible.
Yeah, I don't even want that. I'd pay not to eat that. But I guess I'm figuring out why. Maybe I'm figuring out why I'm single still. I need to quit taking my first dates on Wings Day to Hooters. I guess that's my issue.
Well, no, if you're going to take them there, do it Wings Day, because here's the thing. If you do the bone-in wings, they're all over your hands. You have to pick your beer. You know when you have to pick your beer up around and keep your fingers off because it's just nasty?
Sure.
And, you don't have time to wipe every time you need a drink. I mean, your hands. And
I'm glad you specified that. We weren't sure where you were going there.
Well, anyway, I'll shut up now.
I could see Dad being a guy that eats a bone wing with a fork. I could see Dad being that person.
Like the Costanza and Snickers?
Yeah.
No, how many restaurants are in Texarkana? Have they opened a second one yet, or is it just Hooters?
Oh, just
it's
one
just
Hooters.
No, I'm saying how many restaurants? This is the only place
There's
you
a
can
lot
take
of
a date?
restaurants in Texarkana.
There's a lot of restaurants. What are you talking about? It's not Chicago or anything.
Well, I know, but I'm
God.
saying go to what's there's a Mexican restaurant like across the street, Zapato's, right?
Yeah, and get wings, get chicken wings at the Mexican restaurant.
He's just giving me better alternatives to take my date.
Oh, he's just giving
You're
me
saying the problem is I can't eat bone-in wings because I might look like an idiot in front of a date. I'm saying go somewhere else. There's a million options.
Yeah,
Texarkana's full of restaurants.
So I can only go to Hooters if I'm not on a date, only when I'm with the guys? I mean, I guess.
Well, maybe on your 4th or 5th date when you're okay with being all winged up and everything, but
oh boy.
When one of y'all is willing to fart in front of each other, then you can go to Hooters after that.
Really?
There's the rule.
Yeah.
All righty. On that note, let's switch over to our best and worst of the week. And by the way, if you have an opinion, or maybe we're wrong on some of this wing talk, feel free to hit us up on Twitter at JPP Podcast, or on our Facebook at Just Press Play Podcast, or as always on our website at jpppod.com. We put our show notes, everything we talk about that's worth noting. We'll throw it in there.
Yep.
Yeah, you can comment and let us know what you think. But let's get into our best and worst of the week. Dad, what do you got?
Are we going with the best?
Yeah, best. Well, I mean, I guess if you want to start with the worst, feel free. Yeah. I guess we could throw a little.
No. I got a best. So I'm driving back from Red Apple today, which Red Apple is in Heber Springs, a beautiful part of Arkansas, northern central Arkansas. And I'm driving through noted speed trap Guy, Arkansas.
Right.
Okay. My buddy, Dr. Big Head Doug, he warned me. He goes, dude, Guy is a speed trap. Be careful. And then we stop at Sonic. We get a burger. I'm eating my burger. I'm driving through Guy, Arkansas, and I'm going 64 and a 45 in Guy, Arkansas.
You know better.
Noted speed trap. It's a noted speed trap. I've been warned, right? Yeah. So, of course, a cop sees me. Of course, a cop comes up. He gets behind me, shines his lights. I pull in the church parking lot. I mean, I'm caught. Yeah. I'm not going to deny it. I was going 64, 65. He gets out. He comes up to the thing. I do what my old Uncle Cop told me, Uncle Danny and Uncle Bo, and I stick both my hands out the window so he can see I'm no threat. Yeah. I'm not, and I have my license in my hand. And he comes up and he goes, let me see your license, blah, blah, blah. And I go, dude, I'm sorry. I was speeding. I didn't even realize I duded the cop, but I was told later I duded the cop. So he gets my license out, and he starts reading it and everything. And he's Lutheringer, and I got to spell it, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, Lifford. He said, is that like Clifford? And I go, yeah, my granddad was twins, Clifford and Lifford. He gets a big chuckle out of that. So he calls in. I'm sorry if I'm going long. He calls in on his radio, and I've got no priors. I mean, I'm a good guy. I don't have any tickets.
It's quick to look up all the Liffords and find out.
Well, there's not that many, so no moving violations. I'm all good. And he goes, where have you been? I said, playing golf at Heber Springs, and all that. And he goes, hey, man, slow down. Be careful. See you later. What a cool guy.
Cool, dude.
Yes. What a cool guy. So I believe his name was Marvin, the guy in Guy, Arkansas.
Shout out to Marvin.
In Guy, shout out to Marvin in Guy, Arkansas.
Where your choices would have been called Dude, Arkansas, cool. But
dude, yeah. Dude, I'm sorry.
Is there a worse feeling, just on that note? Is there a worse feeling than when I don't think it's possible if you drive by a cop, even if you know for a fact you're going speed limit, not speeding at all, you have to stick up it, like look in the rearview mirror. You have to check and they come out.
Watch the whole way. Yeah.
But, here's the deal on that. Sometimes you're trying to speed. You're in a hurry, whatever. But I was not trying. I was trying to go slow. I was meandering through. It just got away from me. Yeah. It truly, it was when I wasn't trying to be in a rush. I really wasn't worried. I was calm. He pulled up and I was just like, dude, I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. You weren't worried. You dropped a dude on him.
I dropped a dude on the cop. And, but he could tell. I was just chill. Me and my buddy, Big Head Doug, was sitting next to me, Tracy and Tammy in the back. We're just chilling in the Tahoe, trying to get home. And Marvin in Guy, Arkansas lets me go. And he just says, go slow.
Is there a worse feeling, like that feeling in your stomach when you see the cop pull out behind you and you're just like, and you know you were speeding? I mean, that feeling, like, it eats me. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're already like calculating up your funds, like, all right, well, there goes my fund for the next month. I mean, that's my funds.
I was driving home today and I didn't know the speed limit. I was just following the speed of traffic. And then plain as day, Hannah says, oh, by the way, cop up on the left. And then there's a police officer parked on the shoulder, obviously with the gun out. And I'm like, oh God, I don't know. I don't know how fast I'm supposed to be going. I know that I'm going 50 miles an hour. We'll see. We'll see if we can buy dinner this week. And then, you know, I saw the thing later and it was 45. So I was going over, but he didn't pull.
You know, I kind of feel like you shouldn't get a ticket for following the flow of traffic. I think that's safer to follow the flow than to
generally,
go slower.
well, and that's
the
the thing. Famously in Atlanta on one of their major highways, I'm not sure which one, the speed limit's 55, but everybody drives 70. And if you go 55, you're actually putting people in danger.
Yeah,
no doubt.
By the way, Dad, does Big Head Doug, does he find being called Big Head Doug? Or I mean,
no, he loves it. He actually loves it. And I mean, this dude, he's a doctor. He's like somebody, and he likes being called Big Head Doug. He's just, I mean, go figure.
All right, LJ, what do you got for your best of the week?
Well, so I was doing like shows with little kids. We did Alice in Wonderland, and we had a problem where we had 15 microphones and 54 actors. And so that's like obviously that's not
you're
enough.
A little short.
I'm not like a math genius, but that seems like it doesn't. It's like the buns and hot dogs. That doesn't match up, man.
It doesn't match up. So I did the best I could. You know, I really rode the faders carefully, trying to like turn it up when someone wasn't talking, so I could pick up as much ambient sound as possible. You know, just trying real. I was trying real hard for a kids show where the parents are just there to happy seeing their kids in lights. So, you know, I was kind of feeling like I'm just wasting my energy after the second and last show. And then I hear a knock at the door after the show's done. And I open the door and there's this guy who's probably 58 years old ish. He was in a wheelchair and he just, I don't know why you guys need to know that to know the story, but he was like, hey, I noticed that some of the main players had microphones on, but not everybody did. But I still felt like I could hear everybody really well. And I just wanted to know how you did that. And that was just like the coolest compliment. Like some layman.
I was just, you figured no one cared. You're probably wasting your effort.
Nobody notices. Yeah.
And this dude, like, not only like the door was closed, like, so he wanted to talk to me bad enough to knock on the door to get my attention, even though I was clearly busy. And have this conversation. It was like such a huge compliment. I love it.
It's nice when it's nice whether no matter what it is, if you're doing like a small thing that you're not expecting someone to compliment you on, for someone to come up and note that, you know, I noticed you doing a hard extra work or whatever. It's always nice. It pays off. So I try to like, if I notice that myself, I want to go like say something to someone because it does feel good when someone says it to you. It really does.
Well, and that started a conversation with Hannah and I, how like that, those are oftentimes like we've gotten major awards and are happy with those. They really feel good to get, but I do think it feels better when someone that doesn't know anything about it still singles you out as like, wow, something you did, I don't even know what it was, but it just really worked. Like, you know,
that's cool.
It makes you feel like Houdini or something, like a bit of a magician. It's cool.
All right. To stay right on the track we're going about with cool stories being our best, I got a pretty cool story right up here in Northwest Arkansas. I don't know if y'all have heard of the band Pentatonics, but they played up here about half a week ago or a week ago, and this mom from Kansas City made the trip up here to Northwest Arkansas to Rogers to see her and her twins' favorite band at the Walmart Amp Center. And she bought the tickets on StubHub, but when she got here, they scanned the tickets and they didn't scan. And the person looked at it and said, these tickets are for the right tour, but these are for Dallas, not Rogers, Arkansas.
Oh, no.
And it's not even for today. And so she went to the front office. She tried to get them figured out. Like,
she drove down from where? Where
Kansas
did she drive
City?
down from?
So it's not it's not crazy, but it's a drive. I mean, she made a drive.
It's a drive.
That's like 6 hours or something, right?
No, it's
like
probably
3.5.
4.
Yeah, it's
3.5, 4.
Still
a drive.
But so she goes to the front
really
office.
Like a band to go to Little Rock from Fort Smith.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and like she says her and her twins were playing it the whole way up. It's like their favorite band and they love it. And it's like little twins.
So they got hyped the whole
young.
trip.
Yeah, and they get there, and so she goes to the office and she tries to tell them all the whole situation. She's like, "Look, I paid for the tickets. I mean, that's like the same price. Like, what can I do?" And the office is like, "I mean, you bought them through StubHub, not through Amp, so we can't refund you. You can buy, like, we can sell you more tickets. We're not sold out, but we can't do anything for you."
But
and
then
she
you have to
so
deal
she
with StubHub to get the refund or something.
And she tried to call StubHub. StubHub at the time was telling them, going through customer service, that was a pain. And she's got 2 little kids with her. And so she's forced to look her little twins in the eye and go, "I'm sorry, guys, we can't go to the concert. We're going to have to go home And like they're crying. And then this woman walks up and she just asks, "What is everything okay? Are y'all all right?" Thinking like maybe they're in trouble or something because you just see a family crying. And she tells everything that happened. She explains that they couldn't come. And this woman who was there with two friends goes, "Well, we just kind of got the tickets on a deal on Groupon. And like we know who the band is, but we're not like huge fans. You can just have our 3 tickets."
Wow.
And like the twins go, like it's a huge hug. It was an awesome story. And then they walk off. And then later, the mom, who is Heather Hobbs, says that she posted this sweet story to Facebook telling everybody what happened. And she's like, "I didn't even get their names. Like they hugged us and walked off and they just went on with their day. And we don't even know who they are. I wish I would have got their name." And the internet worked out good. It was one of the wonders of the internet. It got shared so much that StubHub found it, Walmart found it, and then it got back to this woman who her name never came out. But now the AMP Center gave the unnamed stranger, they can have 3 free tickets to any concert upcoming this year. So they could choose whichever one they want. The Family Guy. It was just a really cool story. We did a story on it, a feature story on it over at the station I work at. And so I'll post the video to it in our show notes. Cool. It was just cool. It was neat. There's some cool people out there, and I just thought that was awesome.
That's very cool.
I like how all 3 of our best started out with just these awful situations that, like, surely
it turned out great. Yeah.
Everything worked out in the end. So.
All right. Well, for worst of the week, Dad, since you started out, I'll go back to you.
All right. Well, my worst of the week is
that was
it has to do with golf, but it's really not about it's not a golf story. Okay, it's not a golf story completely. Okay, so stick with me,
guys.
Here.
This is not a broken record. This is not a broken record. This is a new worst from Bob's.
So, all right. So, do you know the difference? Do you know the difference between a gas cart and a golf cart?
Right.
Well, one's
a gas and electric is what I should say.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I would say the golf cart is like what you tend to imagine a golf cart is, and then a gas cart's like
it's very quiet. Beefier. You know, an electric has batteries. It runs off batteries. It's quieter. A golf cart, when you hit with the accelerator, it actually starts the engine. That's the starter. It starts the engine, and then
you'll kind of hear it.
So
you'll kind of hear it start up.
Yeah, instead of turning the key like you do in a truck, every time you hit the accelerator, the starter goes on, starts it up. So we get there Friday afternoon, and we're going to play a couple of holes of golf. We get our golf cart. We get all our stuff on it. And I know y'all don't play a lot of golf, but at my age, there's just a lot of shit involved with golf.
You got a pretty young age?
Well, I'm just saying, so you put your bag on, you get your rangefinder out, you put your wallet in there because you don't want weight messing you up, in your pockets. You put your money in your
first world problems. He already got his rangefinder out and everything, guys.
I mean, you get your drink and you got it in the thing. You got your little Bose player up there.
You're ready to go. You're ready to rock.
You're ready to go. So I get out. We're on number 1, right? We're on number 1. I hit a pretty good drive, get back in the cart, push the accelerator. Nothing. Nothing. It's a gas cart. Did I mention it's a gas cart? So nothing. It will not start. So now I got to walk back to the clubhouse, get another gas cart, move all my shittery from the old cart to the new cart. It's just, that was my worst of the week. It was awful. Yes, it's probably a first world problem, but it was awful.
I get you. That is, at least I get, if you want to look at the glass half full here, at least it was on hole 1 instead of like hole 3 or 4 once you got a little bit away from the
no doubt. You're right.
Back. But yeah, you're like, you've got everything done. You've got there, you got all your stuff ready, and then you're ready to go.
Drink ready.
Yeah.
The
first
tune's
hole,
ready.
And then,
here we go. Yeah. No, you're right. Thank you for that silver lining, Kevin. You're right. I could have been at hole 9 or, 4 in the middle as far away as possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Anyway, that was my worst. So thank
you.
What
do you got?
It's been an all right week. I mean, I think so we have like a membership to Costco now, which by the way, their hot dog combo is unbelievable. But
their sandwich combo,
their Marcona almonds too. Oh, those Marcona almonds, get some.
So my problem is, we've got 4 people living here and a relatively small fridge, so I can't really buy anything in bulk. So Costco is not really super useful for me. I can't start saving money right now. So that's probably my worst.
So your worst is that you have the
toilet paper.
Yeah,
You can get toilet paper,
and
towels,
we get good toilet paper, and we get good toilet paper on this podcast.
Yes, we do.
We try to.
Yeah,
One more roll of that shitty toilet paper has surfaced. I swear I don't know where. Yes, I have one. I'm going to throw it away when we get done. I'm throwing it away.
I'm going to be under your roof next weekend. I'll be in your house next weekend, and I guarantee you.
I'm going to leave it out there.
No, I guarantee you. I'm surprised he wasn't already planning. I swear he goes and changes his roll to put the shitty one up just when I come in town. It's always there.
Yep, it's staying now. Okay.
So your worst is you have the Costco membership, but you can't actually use what
can't take advantage of.
You can't take it.
Yeah,
that's understandable.
So, yeah.
I'm kind of in the same boat as LJ this week. It's been I guess I've had a lot of work. I've been covering for one of my coworkers, so I had to work all weekend. But I mean, really, it's been a solid week. Nothing really to complain about. So I kind of had to do some digging to find the worst, but I did find one, and it's the NFL. Go figure. Always the NFL.
Oh, no.
I always have a reason to talk shit about the NFL.
They can't have messed anything up, have they?
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with Jerry Jones and his comments. It's about
the new Roger Goodell.
No, well, Roger Goodell has a point, but it's the new helmet rule that they've initiated, and we briefly touched on it before, and it's the vague rule where it's players are not allowed to use their helmet to initiate any contact anymore at all. And it's like real vague and like, are they going to get penalized for everything? And sometimes it's tough if it moves fast, and players aren't really sure what is legal and not legal. But so we knew that the rule would impact the play on the field, but it's now actually impacting contract negotiations. And with right in your backyard, LJ, with the Chicago Bears 8th pick, Roquan Smith from Georgia, who I think is maybe the best player in the draft. I love him. I think he's going to be great. But he is holding out right now because he wants it written into his contract that he won't lose any of his guaranteed money if he gets suspended due to this rule. And I can't argue with him because the rule is so vague right now. And it's funny, his agent is the agent for Tremaine Edmonds on the Bills, and he got the language into his contract because the Bears are trying to hold tight, but now that someone else has already got it in theirs, it's going to you got to
interesting.
So now their stud linebacker is missing training camp time to learn middle linebacker is the guy that runs your defense usually, and he's not in training camp because this rule that we don't. The NFL just constantly is screwing things up. You don't roll out a rule unless you got it all figured out, and they don't yet. And that's my worst. It's just the NFL, like always. I guess I love it. I love it. Yeah. I'm gonna watch every minute of it, but they screw up a lot. Let's move on to some layups for this week. And speaking of the NFL, guys, we're wrapping up this weekend, and this will be the last weekend without football of 2018. We have the Hall of Fame game starting up this week, and then the Hall of Fame ceremonies on Saturday. And speaking of the Bears and Ravens play on Thursday. So I wanted to do just a few NFL topics, and I'm sure. Are
you serious? Preseason football starts up Thursday?
Thursday night, baby. Yeah, you got the Hall of Fame game.
Oh, hell yes. I'm ready.
You get to see one possession of Mitch Trubisky.
Whatever. I'm ready.
I guess we just didn't know it because we were looking for when Terrell Owens was going to make a speech. And so I didn't know it was coming up because he's not, right? So
yeah, right.
Right. He's not.
Well, and so I want to get on. All of us here are huge NFL guys, big football guys. And we love it. So I thought, what better than to get on some topics? And actually, a headline made this week was, this is more, the NFL started it with the Falcons announcing they were going to do fan-friendly concessions. And now the Atlanta Hawks and the NBA are also starting it. And basically, for anyone who didn't quite see, it's the idea of just cheaper concessions. And so, like, they're offering $1 chips, $2 snacks, like $3 hot dogs and beers for $5 instead of like, I don't know. It's been a while since I went to Jerry World, but last time I went to Jerry World, I think a Miller Lite was like $11 or something. It was insane.
Yeah, I think so.
And so apparently with one team, with now two teams doing it, I think you're going to see more teams follow in this fan friendly style of concessions. And it's a big part of it is teams are struggling right now to get butts in the seats because it's hard to find a reason to leave my couch when I can pull up the Red Zone channel or my big HD.
I got HD TV and a 30-pack in the fridge that cost me $22.
It's hard to beat it. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think this fan-friendly concessions will do you think it takes more precedence and more teams do it? And do you think that it brings more butts to the seats? Would it get you to go to a game?
I mean, I can't answer the first half of that very well because, we'll just have to see what happens and if it is successful to see if more teams pick it up. But I'm telling you, it gets me more likely to buy a ticket. Guaranteed.
Then I think you just answered the first question. And that I think they have tried to make money on concessions for so long that we talk about going to a game. Why drive to Dallas, have to park, walk for miles, get out late. Yeah. It's $10 a beer.
It costs a lot just to get the damn ticket, let alone.
And the tickets that last time I looked, they were like $250, $300 a ticket. I mean, they have priced the average person out of the game.
Absolutely.
They completely have.
I will say it's a little different in a major city. If you live in a major city with a not so good football team, because it's a lot cheaper for me to go to a game and I don't have to worry about parking because I can take public transit, but still it is quite expensive.
But there's a lot of fans.
Instead of $200, it's still
a lot of the fans that went to the games were people like we were back in the day, where we're going to drive down to Dallas. We're going to make a 3-hour, day trip, go down to Dallas, drive back. And on top of all that, you're spending a lot of money on tickets. And then if dad wants to enjoy a few beers, he's got to spend $30 for that. And then any kind of meal is going to be like $10 to $12 for concession stand food. I mean, all of a sudden you're just piling on. Yeah. And for, like Dad said, for the average fan,
you walk in the door, and if you're walking in the door, so you probably paid $200 a ticket, or maybe $60. Let's just say to LJ's example, but then you better take $200 for food and drink.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, and that's ridiculous.
We went and it was snowing outside. That's why it was so cheap for us. And it was also the Bears versus the 49ers. So
before Jimmy GQ and Mitch Trubisky. Yeah.
Yeah, before Jimmy GQ, and it was negative degrees outside. So it was reasonable that it was cheap. But
they should have paid you to come, but anyway.
Oh, yeah, because we added to the ambiance for the people sitting on their couches. But so we bought I think Hannah got like an $11 mac and cheese hot dog, and it was like Easy Mac on a hot dog that was already frozen by the time we got back to our seats. So it's like that's not worth $2. Like you priced yourself out of me buying food ever again, unless you can do this Hawks thing. And
it's funny. It's both Atlanta Hawks and Atlanta Falcons. Thing. Yeah. It's funny that's where it's both happened. And the thing to me is they're not going for the fans like dad could, if he goes to a Cowboys game, he's going to go, I'll buy the Miller Lite. You'll probably say I'll go for it, but they're not trying to get you to go because you're more likely just to sit at home. I feel like they're looking for the guy who's 30 years old and has 2 or 3 little kids and wants to go share the experience that we had with you. Like I want to take my kids to a Cowboys game and I can't afford that crap.
They want to, They want a 12-year or they want somebody with a 6-year-old that's going to want a jersey in the shop.
Exactly.
And make a lifelong fan.
Think about when we went to games. It was usually when some vendor gave us tickets because the tickets I'm telling you were $300 or so a ticket. So if you think I could lay down $1,000 just to get us in the game, and now $200 or $300 to eat, and no, I can't spend $1,000 a weekend. I can't. I don't think most people can.
I respect what they tried to do in Dallas, where they actually elevated the food. They actually created some really neat menu items. And that were really good.
Some good brisket sandwiches and a good. Cody knows they got a good Philly cheesesteak sandwich at Jerry World.
Hey, and they had sushi. They had some good sushi there.
But truthfully, if there's ever a 30-year-old LJ trying to take his kids to the game, I'd rather have 75-cent bags of Cheez-Its is what I'd rather have. So,
anyway. I guess where I'm going,
I think
I'm
it's
interested to see how I think more teams should do it. It will help, but I know people my age, we're like, give me some red zone channel, even if we can't all afford to get red zone. Fine, let's go. Like Lane, you get red zone. We're all going to show up at the duplex, and we're all just going to hang out all Sunday and watch it there.
Yeah.
Especially with fantasy football, I want to see how all my guys do. I want to watch my Cowboys, but I kind of want to be able to flip and see how, my quarterback's doing. How's Tom Brady doing or whatever, So I don't know how they fix that, but
there are football games that I will go see live, and it's college football games because the atmosphere is absolutely different, in my opinion.
So I kind of wanted to bring up real quick to finish off a little NFL stuff. Some of the storylines I'm kind of interested in following, and one I'm really interested in is the Super Bowl winning quarterback or the Super Bowl winning team, the Eagles. And it looks like they're starting to work Wentz back already. And if you remember, he's coming off a pretty serious injury. And of course, Foles had his historic run in the playoffs and championship. That's got to come to an issue, does it not? I mean,
what is it? If Wentz is ready to go, he's the starter, period.
But
that's it.
I don't know.
But what? Nothing. No.
But Foles won you a Super Bowl.
If Romo's ready to go, you got to let him start. Period.
Yeah, right. And then Dak ended up.
There's no nothing. Yeah, there are reasons.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
So I just think it's interesting to me. I think what the Eagles are coming to. I think they're rushing Wentz back a little bit, but I think there's a tad bit of them worried if we can't have him ready by week 1. Say he's not ready till week 4, but Nick Foles goes 3-0. And keeps lighting the world on fire. Now, shit, what do we do? Do we go Wentz and trade? I think you go Wentz.
As a Broncos fan, I can tell you no team wants to have the guy they want to be the backup playing games under center for him. They don't, because we had Tebow and he couldn't lose long enough for us to put anybody in. Orton couldn't get back under center because Tebow wouldn't lose. And you don't want that. You want to have the guy you believe in starting games as soon as you can.
I think the Eagles are praying like, let's Wentz. We'd like to have you back on week 1. Let's have you going.
It's interesting to think about. What if the Cowboys would have said, it is Tony Romo's job. When he's healthy, he is back. He is the starter. And maybe they saw him in practice and they knew he wasn't ready. That's perhaps but I'm telling you, Romo could have taken that team the way they were playing that year. Romo was a great quarterback. And Dak stepped in fantastic. He did, but I think Romo could have done some things that Dak couldn't have done in the playoffs. And I know he didn't have a great playoffs. I know his history is that Romo didn't have a great playoffs, but I just wonder if that would have went the other way. I will say we lost that playoff game to the Packers because Aaron Rodgers. It wasn't because of Dak. If you remember that year, that was the year Aaron Rodgers made that amazing throw to.
That's true.
What if Romo would have been in and controlled the ball a little longer? What if he would have run the clock out?
I think Romo gets too much shade, and I think that was his year. I still feel bad to this day. That was the roster.
I think that was Romo's year.
To go out on top,
and I'm glad we got Dak. But
I said it then that they're making a mistake if they don't play Romo the second he's healthy, because I don't care how good Dak is doing. He's doing it with a team that Romo could also find success with. It wasn't.
But you're also think about it though. You're also at one point Dak was 13-0, and you're benching Dak at 13-0. That's tough.
Yes, I would. I wouldn't even question it.
But I really think I would have too, LJ. And I get it. But Dak is going to be good, and I pat him on the back.
You also got to wonder because Romo.
I think I'd have put Romo in.
Sat down pretty quickly and loudly, like he said, "This is Dak's team. He's doing it." So you got to wonder how.
Well, I think that just makes me like Romo more. That's Romo going.
Absolutely.
But whoa, time out. Romo was ready to play for 2 or 3 weeks as far as we knew before he said that. I think Romo was.
What I'm saying is
he was ready to come back in.
Who knows how much back in the office they were saying, Romo, have you got this? Are you ready? And he was like, I don't think so. Give me 2 more weeks.
We'll never know. Of course
not. But that's what kind of makes me think he must have is, I don't know. I don't care how good of a guy you are. You're not a competitor on Romo's level if you're willing to just give up your job if you think you can do better.
Yeah, but maybe I'll just play devil's advocate here. These are the guys he's bled like with Jason Witten and Sean Lee and Des Bryant. These are the guys that he's been playing with and he's lost huge games with. And now they're 13-0. They have a real shot. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC. And he's going, I'm not going to come in, maybe ruin the chemistry and lose this. But that's tough to say because Romo's got to feel like I'm going to come in and be the best quarterback on this damn roster.
If you think for a second that Romo didn't think he was better than Dak, then I think you're wrong.
I agree.
So I think that he had to be sitting down because he thought that he couldn't be what he was supposed to be. I think that's what had to happen.
Here's my take on that.
All right, final take.
I think there were 2 or 3 weeks. I think there were 2 or 3 weeks where Romo was sitting over there going, I am the better quarterback and I am ready to play. And they didn't put him in. And Dak played well. There's no doubt about it. And so I think finally he just said for the good of the team, he made his statement and he stepped back. And I respect him for that. But I think if Romo would have gotten back, Tex Schramm used to say, you do not lose your job due to injury. You do not lose your job due to injury. And I think if they'd have put Romo in, I think we might have won a Super Bowl. I'm a Romo fan, though, and some people aren't. And I'm a Romo fan.
That was a good Cowboy team.
Yeah.
It was a great Cowboy team.
Another storyline that I guess it's just quarterbacks that really gets me excited in football. But I really want to see if Deshaun Watson, because I really liked him at Clemson, and I've always kind of liked the Texans. I hate that he got hurt, and I'm excited to see what happens when he comes back.
I'm excited about Deshaun Watson. I'm absolutely excited about the Texans and to watch that boy play. I am so excited.
Well, just not that long ago, that Texans defense was the best defense out there, and J.J. Watt was maybe the best defensive player we've seen. And all of a sudden, we haven't heard from him in a while because he's had some injuries. And then if Deshaun Watson, they got DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, that could be a really fun team.
Could be who's the running back? Lamar Miller?
Lamar Miller still, yeah. And they drafted someone too. I mean, that's a good team.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got some wheels. Watch the Texans. I think they could be good.
Yeah.
And then the aging quarterbacks like Brady and Breeze. Me and LJ were kind of briefly talking about this before you got on, Dad. But how long can they keep going? Is a new precedence in football where you can go till you're 45? I mean, that blows my mind.
I hope so. They looked great last year. I didn't see any drop off. I mean, oh my God, he's almost the MVP. You know, so. I want to see them do well, and I think they will.
I think he retires maybe if they can somehow. I think if they would have won the Super Bowl last year, he retires. And I think if they can somehow win a Super Bowl soon, he's friends with Peyton Manning, and he saw LJ, you saw it firsthand as a Bronco fan. When it happens fast. Peyton Manning was the MVP, and then the next year he lost it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is I think that great quarterbacks don't decline; they drop off. And so, and you don't know when it's going to happen. Because I think the thing that makes a great quarterback is a lot more than can you run a 40 in a certain amount of time. And there's a lot of brain to it. And if your brain stops ticking exactly that speed in the middle of the off season, then you don't know it till you get back on the field with your team. And so I think the drop off just happens.
Well, see, I'll disagree with you a little there. I don't think it's necessarily the brain thing. I think you lose that zip on their arm. Like all of a sudden, Peyton Manning can't get that. He can't get that.
That's what happened to Manning.
He can't get that back shoulder as fast as it used to be. And it doesn't matter how good Demaryius Thomas is. If Peyton Manning can see it and know it's there, but if he can't get the ball to him where it needs to be, then, and I think Peyton Manning saw it and was like, wow. And did he get the Super Bowl the year that he didn't actually win the Super Bowl the year he was really good. It that next year.
Right.
When he just
Brock basically carried him into the playoffs, and then he took him the rest of the way.
When Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware in that defense was just absolutely
Brock
nasty.
didn't carry him into the playoffs. I'm sorry. I apologize to the Broncos defense.
Yeah. My boy D. Ware got a ring. Good shout out to DeMarcus Ware.
Brock did play. He played well, though, no doubt. He played pretty well that year. But he hung on for the defense.
Well enough to get him a fat ass contract from the Texans.
Yeah, but he played a lot of series where he started on his opponent's 20-yard line. We'll leave it at that. But I was just going to say I can't think of very many quarterbacks that have had a slow decline. Are really good quarterbacks that have had a slow decline out of the league. Like they seem to either leave when we think you could have played 2 more seasons, or they leave and we think you should have retired 2 seasons ago. And that's think about it.
Yeah, and I think that's Tom Brady's a smart guy, and I think he'd much rather he's at the top of it. I mean, he might be. I think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback just as far as skill and talent, but Tom Brady's still playing at the top of the game right now, and I don't think. He just doesn't want to have any moment. I think as soon as he realizes that I'm not just able to beat you by myself and dominate, I think he's done. Because you only know, it's like Michael Jordan with those greatest players. They know what level they're at, and they just know they're better than everyone. And when all of a sudden you can't do what you used to be able to do, that's got to be a sucky feeling.
Well, to that, I think one thing you can look at is the big difference between Brett Favre and Tom Brady. Is that Brett Favre is out there just having fun. And so he'll play until nobody wants to hire him anymore. Whereas Tom Brady is out there working hard, wanting to be the only thing he wants is to be the best. There's no other motivation in his game besides being number one. So the second he doesn't think he can, I think he's out. But I don't know if he'll know it in time. I think he'll have a season where he doesn't know it yet. I just don't know if it's this year.
And then the last one, I just real quick, I don't want to talk about them a lot, but I think the Browns, for once in my life, could be really exciting this year.
You're pumped?
Yes, I think they're going to be great.
I'm super excited to watch the Browns. Yes. They got the Hard Knocks this year. I think they're going to. Now, I'm saying they're going to be good as in they might win 7 to 8 games, but still,
think they're making it in
I think the Browns can be fun.
Some noise is what I think is going to happen.
Who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback for the Browns?
Josh Gordon's catching anything, and then they're thinking about hiring Dez. Josh Gordon and Dez. I'm scared
with
of that.
Jarvis Landry in the slot.
Oh, I'm scared.
Oh my God, who's throwing to him though?
Doesn't matter. I will.
I think it's Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's throwing to him.
I don't see why they would rush Baker Mayfield. Like, let him learn the offense, learn the pro game, and let Tyrod Taylor's a proven. He might not be Tom Brady, but Tyrod Taylor proved he can play quarterback at an efficient level. To me,
Tyrod Taylor is a professional quarterback in the NFL. He knows how to handle his business. I think you let Baker Mayfield watch him play. If Tyrod Taylor in game 6 or 7, whatever, week 6 or 7 is not doing well, you put Baker Mayfield in. But you Tyrod Taylor's starter day 1 and maybe for the whole year. That's my thought.
Yeah. And they're replacing their left tackle. Joe Thomas retired, so they're blindside. They're not really sure. Like, go ahead and let Tyrod Taylor. No reason bringing out your rookie. And
I will
it's just the pressure when you take someone first overall, though.
Devil's advocate to that is I think Cleveland's happy if they get 6 wins, just because, the history of that team. Mm-hmm. And with those, if they were to pick up, but just with those 2 receivers, that's a great way to start learning how to be a quarterback, is to have people that could just bring in anything and turn into extra yards. So, you only really learn by doing, in my experience. You don't really learn from watching somebody else work.
That's a good point. Is Crowell still there at running back?
I think so.
I believe Crowell's gone. And,
really?
And they took.
Who do they have?
See, that's the thing. I still, this is right at the time because it always happens. We got to start
looking this up. I'm ready.
Well, it's what happened. It's like what we mentioned. The Hall of Fame game always just all of a sudden you're like, holy shit. The Hall of Fame game's on. Yeah.
It's on. It's
like it's a red and right. Last year I was in Gulf Shores just on vacation. All of a sudden I was like, oh, the Cowboys play tonight. The Hall of Fame game's tonight. And then I get in. I dive deep into it.
So I'm going to name 3 running backs in Cleveland, and you tell me if you're excited about any of them. Duke Johnson.
Yep.
Okay. Right. Okay.
I like him.
Carlos Hyde.
Yes. And
Nick Chubb.
They got Chubb too. Yeah.
Oh, Chubb. Now,
From Georgia.
And Carlos Hyde had
scary. That's scary.
Yeah.
I like Carlos Hyde.
I like Carlos
LJ
Hyde.
already mentioned their receivers. They have some good receivers. And then they drafted that Njoku, the tight end, at the end of the first round, like 2 years ago. There's talent all over that roster. Put whoever it is, Baker or Tyrod, if they could just stay alive, there's some talent.
Whoever you believe in, and then just let it fly. That I want to watch that. That's the greatest show on turf, but on real grass in the Factory of Sadness.
Y'all have got me absolutely wanting to watch Cleveland Browns play football.
See, I think LJ's a little crazy.
I'm overselling it. Kevin's like trying to be moderate. Like, I think they're going to get 7 wins.
LJ's like 12 wins.
This is Super Bowl.
AFC Championship.
Playoffs.
All right. Well, I wanted to bring up, I know, Dad, you had mentioned it and we had seen it, and I thought it's worth bringing up, but the Josh Hader stuff, the Milwaukee Brewers pitcher, who this year he made the All-Star game, and he's having a big year, but he's kind of he's in the headlines for, like we've seen before, offensive tweets that he made, back, I think it was like 5 years ago. Most of them are back in 2012-ish, around that era. And they're just, Dad made a good point earlier. I read them off just because we had heard them, but we read them off to each other. And when I actually read them off before we started recording, some homophobic tweets and some racist tweets. And I wouldn't want Mom to hear me read these, even if she knew I was reading them off from something else, just to say some of these things. Yeah. So they're kind of bad. You can go find them if you want to.
Well, let's just say they're out there right now. You can go find them. We're not going to read them on air right now because they're pretty vile. They're vile.
Yeah.
And most of them are from, he's about my age. I think he's 24.
He's 24, and I think he was 17 when all that came out.
Yeah, these are back in 11 and 12. And so I started thinking about it a little bit. So here's the thing. After the All-Star, he took a lot of backlash, took a big thing. And then when he played his first game back at Milwaukee, he got a standing ovation.
Well, so wait, can we go back for a second?
Yeah.
So you're saying that these tweets came to light right before the All-Star game?
During the All-Star game. It was like right at the start of the All-Star game. It was so bad. Like it started because everyone has their phones. His family's wearing Hater jerseys. They said that they had to take their jerseys off because people were like bashing them and killing them. And so whoever had these tweets, whoever went back and found these, they had them and they were waiting on a good time to throw them out there to where it would really make headlines. And they did.
I wonder who does that. Is that like somebody that just hasn't liked him for a long time, or is that somebody looking for money? Like trying to sell a story to like TMZ or something?
I think it's probably that. Like, hey, I got what? But that's hard to sell that because if you tell them I have like some old tweets from Josh Hader, they'll go, oh, okay, I'll go find them because he didn't delete them until it comes to light because he didn't even remember they're there. After the All-Star game, he took a lot of backlash and he came out and said that those aren't the things I believe in now. I said those when I was younger, and he apologized. He said the right things, a lot like what you would expect him to say, whether or not he believes him or not. But he said what you'd expect, and he apologized. But then he played his first game in Milwaukee, and he got a standing ovation. And it was interesting. There was a lot of different topics, and a lot of people on social media took it as they were like, the caption I read was, "This is the same city where the cops beat Sterling Brown, the NBA player, for nothing." And then this white pitcher who says these insanely offensive things gets a standing ovation. And that was interesting to me a little bit, but it's kind of one of those things as a fan, he's their stud player. Fans, you can go back as far as you want. The Giants fans back Barry Bonds.
Yes,
you'll forgive
absolutely.
almost anything for winning.
Yeah, if he's good.
Well, I think the home team rallies around their guy, and I think that's what that was. I don't think they were saying we're proactively supporting the things he said or anything like that.
But we recognize maybe you were a kid at the time, and we still love you.
I do think I was taking up for my guy. He's my home team guy. I'm taking up for my guy. What he said is inexcusable. Yes, agreed. He said it at 17 years old. That's old enough. It's still inexcusable. Whatever. I've known a lot of, I was 17 once, and I'm just,
sure.
I didn't hang around guys that said shit like that. I just didn't. And what he said was bad. And I would not have been hanging around a guy like that. Has he changed? Maybe. I hope so. I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I do think the people in Milwaukee were just supporting their guy. And
can I ask you this?
Appreciate how he took ownership of it. He did say, "I did that. That's not who I am." Because you don't try to lie. I mean, I guess there was no way to, but he took ownership of it. And I would applaud that he took ownership and apologized. I will say I would applaud that fact.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I ask you, so my first reaction was the same as yours. My initial reaction was, these are just the fans backing their guys. I didn't think much of it. Their guy's going through a tough time in the media. He's getting blasted for all this stuff, and he was young. But maybe we have a different perspective. Like, I could just see how a African-American might go, oh, wow, this white guy gets forgiven like that. He gets a standing ovation like that for these things that, like you said, are inexcusable. And there's something that's hard. Like we've said before, it's hard to put to put yourself in that perspective if you've never actually walked in those shoes and seen a guy get forgiven that easily, when those are some bad things that he put out there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I was thinking about when I was hearing about this is if you went back, if you could find my Zynga page, you might find some things that are a little bit unsavory. I think I was pretty fine, but like in today's context, maybe some things sound bad, some things that 10 years ago weren't really bad things to say, or at least the majority of us were not aware that they were bad things to say. We were just using them in a totally different context. And now that we're aware, we don't use them as often. But nothing like what these tweets were. Like, they're totally different. So it is a lot harder for me to just say, well, kids are kids and say stupid things. Like, this is a different level of stupid things. It's just funny. Yeah, It's not funny. It's just a different time where, like you mentioned, Dad, when you were 17, and hell, even close to when LJ was 17, you can't probably go back. It's just now these guys, when Josh Hader tweeted these things, like me and LJ were talking about it, whether it could have been a joke, he could have been, we have no idea if this was all, someone could have hacked his phone for all we know. Right. We really have no idea. That's true. It's possible. Well, he has taken ownership, so I think
he's taking ownership.
There's no way you can't.
Which is,
if
like
you play the hack card,
if
you play the hack card there, you look like, I don't know. I would dislike that, but
I would rather take ownership of it.
Yeah,
but it's when these things came out, like you said, Dad, when he's 17, sure, I'm sure he had the dream of, I want to be an MLB pitcher, but it's hard to actually fathom that one day I'll be, playing in the MLB All-Star game. And then to come full circle, now he's here, and I wouldn't think about what I said way back then. Should I be held accountable? I mean, you should, I guess.
Let me say this. I remember people at 7. I think if you said that at 17, you're a little bit of a dick. Okay. I just think if you really said that at 17, you're a little bit of a dick. And if you're 24 now and you realize that you were being a little bit of a dick and you don't want to be that anymore, okay, let's give him a second chance and let's try.
Yeah, maybe he's opened his mind. Maybe like, he got to a bigger city and opened his mind up. We never know.
But I want to tell you your point that if a black person did that and made those same statements in relation to whites, they probably wouldn't be so quick to get a standing ovation. I mean, I think that's fair to say. And I want to note two people that wrote articles, and we can put these on here, but Mike Powell in the New York Times and Craig Calcaterra, and he was my favorite. Craig Calcaterra wrote an article in Hardball Talk for NBC Sports, and look those up because these are two white guys that wrote about it, and they bring up that point, and it's a fair point. I think a black person that would have done that would have gotten a different reaction than this young man that's white. And anyway, he owned up to it, but he did something bad. He needs to pay a price. He needs to pay a price for it.
Well, I think the price he ends up paying is just loss of some fans.
We could get a little philosophical about it, and to answer the question of can you be held accountable for something that you did some time ago, we could try to think about Theseus Ship and think about how much of Hader is the same Hader that existed at that time. Like, is he a new person at this point?
How many boards have been replaced on his ship?
Yeah. And I don't mean like necessarily in the cell replacing, but I mean like, in the way that somebody thinks and acts and shows their actions of how they feel, like, I think you have to atone for stuff like that and try to do better than you would have done had you done nothing. Like, I think you need to make an effort to, you realize that you said some stupid things about, some minority group. Maybe you try to work to help that minority group to make up for the awfulness of something you said. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that, then maybe that shows that enough boards have been replaced, that maybe you shouldn't be held so accountable for the things a stupid kid said.
I just think
a stupid 20-year-old, because I don't even think it necessarily matters that he was 17 because like the difference between LJ now and LJ 3 years ago is a lot of intelligence.
Yes, agreed. 100%.
How much do you grow up? Think about this, guys. Yeah. Think about how much you grew up from 17 to 21 to 24 to 28 to 20. Those are exponential years where you see so much of life and your things. I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. I was homophobic when I was probably 16, and I love I'm just not now. And I hate that the old me was that way, but I am not that way anymore. That is not who I am now, but I was. That's a fact.
Yeah. Well,
but your boards have been replaced.
The last thing I'll bring to it, and we can keep going, but I just think whether you're and this isn't Hader, this is just a person, not necessarily him, because I don't know his life. But if you're a person that grew up maybe at an all white private school and deep in the South, or if you're a black kid who grew up in like an all black school, you are grown up in a certain way and you're just around a certain environment, you start to believe certain things. Maybe you go to college. That's one thing that's great about college is you kind of go and all of a sudden like you're saying, Dad, you meet a couple of homo or gay people and you realize, there's nothing wrong with this person. He can like whoever he wants to, And I think there's just so once you put yourself out to new environments, there's so much changes in you. No, those aren't right, and you should, I guess, pay some atonement, but I just think the Josh Hader at 24 could be 100% different than the Josh Hader at 17. And he just didn't realize those were out there. And I guess it brings me back to the point I was saying this to LJ. I guess I just need to start the damn business of you pay me, I'll go through your damn Twitter. If you'll pay me, I'll spend the time. I'll go through every single tweet you've ever had. And I'll let you know what it is. And if you want to delete it, I'll
social
delete
media. I'll find your Reddit account. I'll find your Facebook account.
If anyone can find it, I'll go find it. If you'll pay me enough, I'll spend the time. I just don't. So many people get hit with this, whether they're in like an actor or an athlete or anything. These high profile guys get hit with this, and it's just people would pay for it. I don't know why I haven't started this business. Someone will, and they'll make some money off of it.
I will say, though, here's the other thing, though, is the people that need you to do this job are probably not the people you want to be working for, that are thinking,
exactly.
Yep, I've said some terrible things. Let's hire Kevin. Then you become.
I never thought of it that way.
A job that I really respect and I really root for the people that do it because it takes a lot of humanity to do it. But I would never want to be a defense attorney because I think that at least 50% of the time, your guy did it. And that's a tough job to know that you're fighting for the side of people that, you're fighting for justice and for it to be properly doled out. But man, that'd be a tough job. And so I think you're in that territory if you're taking this up.
I guess this.
So you're going to read a lot of garbage you don't want to look at either.
Well, I spend too much time on Twitter as it is. So, I mean, but I guess it's just a note to all the young kids out there. Just, as I think it's Herm Edwards that always says it, wait before you hit the send button or the tweet button. Just think it again. Is it really worth it to throw out these things?
Well, and the hope is the hope is that Hader has realized maybe he's a changed guy. I think everyone could agree that that's the hope, that he has grown up and seen where he was, and he's not there now. And I hope so. I hope that's the case.
Alrighty, and now the voice you hear at the beginning of the podcast, the lovely Miss Hannah Miss Hannah Lutheringer, Miss Hannah Yeager Lutheringer is going to join us. She's got a game for us. So Hannah, I'll just toss it over to you. What do you got?
All right, so today's game is called Statute of Limitations.
Now you're smart. Is it statue or statute of limitations?
Statute.
Oh, I really think you're wrong.
It's about commonly misused words and phrases, and I want to see if you guys know the difference and the correct usage of these phrases. And some of them are words, but most of them are phrases. So, for example, statute of limitations versus statue of limitations. And obviously, the wrong one is
not the name of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I know that one.
Right. So
no debate
for that one though. So
we're gonna pick the
wrong one in that. So you said there's statute with the T at the end.
Yeah.
And then statue that ends like UE, and the one that's UE is the wrong one.
Yeah, you don't know that? That's like new to you?
Sorry about
No,
that.
if you would have asked, if y'all would have just asked me before, I clearly I can use my context clues and realize that the name of the game was the correct one. But
so I guess
I think I would have got that wrong. So this could be a
question
long game.
Is this competitive? Are we going to beat Kevin to a pulp here, or?
Well, how's the teams work? Are we all competing against each other?
Or is this just like a challenge for the guys on this podcast to clearly have English problems?
Well, I mean...
Case in point.
Well, I think my goal is to also try to fool like all of you at once. Like,
okay, so you want us to discuss this and come up with the right answer.
I would love
if y'all want just to have some fun, I can give my answer first.
Yes.
Apparently.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And then we might talk you out of it.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's do it.
In fact, let's make Kevin the team captain, so that way we have to talk him out of it. We have to convince him to change his mind.
We have to convince Kevin. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. I
convince Kevin.
Since we're team kickoff on this podcast, let's kick it off, Hannah.
All right. Well, I thought that one was going to be
walk in the park.
Yeah, walk in the park.
Or walk on the park.
Yeah.
You thought.
Well, but this one, so this should be easy, but I'm not sure.
I've said on past pods that I like to set the bar low, and apparently I've done that today.
Yeah.
So
the precedent has been set, yes.
All right, so question number 1. Is it prostrate cancer or prostate cancer?
So I go first? You want me to tell you what I think?
Yes, you go first.
I feel like this one's obvious. It's prostate cancer, correct?
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I agree.
You're all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, to be prostrate is to be like laying down on the floor with your hands.
That's right. Okay.
I didn't know that, but I just knew that sounded wrong.
Yeah.
I heard that term before, but I didn't know what it was.
I actually have that written down. Yep, You're right. That's correct.
Look at dictionary.com over here.
Wait. What was the note? The time and place.
All right. So number 2.
1 for 1.
So is it first come, first served, or first come, first serve?
Wow. So I think I'll go ahead since I'm the team captain here. I think I normally say first come, first serve, but it's probably the ED. What do y'all think?
Well, I was going to say that I thought I knew the answer until I heard the second option. I was pretty confident.
Same here.
Yeah. But then I was like, okay, so maybe, because that does make a little bit more sense. I don't know. What do you think, Dad?
I like to confer to my elders.
Well, I think it's two completely different things. I mean, first come, first serve, or first come, first served.
What would the difference be?
I think it's first come, first. Well, because it's first come, first serve everyone, or it's first come and feed me.
I think it's the first that come. The first to show up gets served, so it's probably the second one. I'm going to go with the second one, I think.
That's why I'm going to say it's the second one. It's first come, first serve.
That's not how I say it.
With an ED.
With the ED?
But if it's first come, first serve, it's whoever shows up serves the others.
Okay. No, what you're saying makes sense. Yeah, that's the logic. That logic makes sense to me. I feel like I always say the other one, but I agree with that. The ED is the one that makes sense for what you would normally use it for.
So
I think it's first come, first served, and that's what you said, right? Right, team captain.
Well, that's not how I would have said it. Just if I would have used the phrase, but now that I've heard both, yes, that's the one I think is correct. Hannah.
So you're going with first come, first served with an ED?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That is correct.
Well, that's cool. I learned that's new.
Yeah, that's the correct one.
Yeah.
First come, first serve does imply, yes, that you would be the first one to serve everyone else. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so Dad's killing it on the actual context of.
Right. Interestingly, I've always said it wrong then. I always say first come, first serve.
Yeah,
every time.
That's news to me.
I do too, because I thought it meant like serve as in a sport, like a volleyball serve.
Yeah.
Like first come, first serve, you get to serve first, and that's better for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even think about it, so I felt like
I just have never thought about it. So,
but yeah. Okay, so good job.
Come on, bring another one.
It's okay.
Dome.
All right.
He's heating up.
Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can stump you, Liv. So, is it deep-seated or deep-seated?
Kev?
What's the difference?
Deep-seated.
Seat like a chair or seed like a plant?
Like how would you use that in a
deep-seated.
sentence or like in
good question.
context?
So I had a deep-seated issue with the problem. It's been there for a while. She had a deep-seated argument or something that's been there for a while.
I think I'm going to go.
Firmly established.
My initial thought is deep-seeded with a D, like a seed.
Okay. That makes the most sense to me. Again, if we're going context of what they should mean. But I feel like deep-seated is what I've seen written.
Why would that make sense though? Deep-seated.
Dad, why would that make sense?
Actually, I'm a little unsure of this one because I think both of those could have a similar meaning. I think if you say it's a deep-seated with a T, that means I'm stodgy. I'm seated in my belief on this issue. But you could also say deep-seated like it goes back into my ancestry. I think that I'm deep-seated in this belief because my ancestry, it's from my seed or the seed that I come from. I believe it's deep-seated with a T.
They have a conflict.
I believe that's what it is.
I'm saying that's what I've seen written.
That's
we're
a
both,
good one.
I think we're both disagreeing with you, Kevin.
Well, and that's probably smart. If I had to choose me or y'all, I'm going to go with y'all.
I mean, you are the team captain.
So deep-seated with a T.
All right.
That's what I think, but I could see this going either way.
So here's the thing, Kevin, you have to decide. And my argument is I've seen it written down, I think possibly, and Dad's is that he thinks it has to do with everything that he didn't just describe to us.
Well, see, I'm in the perfect spot. I'm in a great spot here. I'm going to go with, as a team, we're going to go deep-seated with the T. But if we're wrong, then y'all are idiots and I'm smart. So go ahead.
Okay. All right.
So deep-seated with a T?
Yeah.
Okay. That's correct.
Ding, ding, ding.
Deep-seated with a D.
Ding!
Actually, it does make sense, but that's just not the right usage. Deep-seated was the original usage in like English, in like England, and it means firmly established. So like when you're talking about,
yeah.
I think that one, I would have used that one correctly if I were just using everyday talk.
Yeah. That would have been my gut to go with that. But after thinking about it, it felt like it made as much sense, or if not more, to go the other way.
Oh, wait, no, we went T. Yeah, I would have used that incorrect then. Never mind. I'm wrong. I would have said deep-seated every time. Anyway, Hannah, go ahead.
Am I using this correctly?
Yes.
No.
This is.
Am I using this correctly? I could care less.
Wait, let me think. No, you are not using that correctly.
Well, it depends.
Right?
It depends on how much you care.
If I mean,
that is the exact correct response, LJ. Yes.
How much do you care when you say that?
If I mean, I don't care. I could care less.
Okay, Kevin?
I think that's the wrong way to say it.
Agreed.
Okay.
Why?
Right.
Because
if you could care less, then there's other things that you care less about. And if you couldn't care less, then this is like the bottom of your worries. Like you have
the amount of caring is on the floor. Yeah.
I give 0 F's about this topic.
I could not care less about this topic.
Some listeners may be doing right now because they actually understand the language that we speak. So.
They did that when we started talking, LJ. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Get out of here with this BS.
Well, I hear that misused all the time.
All the time.
All of the time.
I think I'm guilty of it. I think at times I've been guilty of it.
Yeah.
I could care less about how you use that term.
I'm going to start.
I could.
I'm going to start using that in my regular vernacular. I'm going to go, I could care less.
Yeah, I could care less.
I'm going to say it like that.
But you're going to use it correctly. So like when someone says something that you're kind of interested in, actually, I could care less about that topic.
Does anybody want some wings tonight?
Right.
I could care less.
It would throw people off.
I actually do have an opinion on that. Yeah.
All right. So for those of you that couldn't keep up with the conversation, the correct usage is I couldn't care less when you mean you don't give a damn about what anyone's saying.
Someone out there, they won't admit it. It's probably Labat, but someone out there is like learning from this game right now.
All right. Next one.
4 for 4, might I add. From the team.
Yeah, this is number 5. So, am I using this correctly? For all intensive purposes.
For all intents of purposes.
No, for all intensive purposes.
Intensive purposes.
See, that's one of those phrases that I just kind of say it fast and hope no one really listen to me. Like they know what I'm trying to say.
Do you have what do you think? Intensive purposes.
What do you think, Captain?
For all intents of purposes. So like, not intensive.
You're saying for all intents.
You're saying she's not using it correctly.
Purposes.
Yes, that's how I would use it, and I really don't know why, but I don't know why I would use it the other way either. So y'all have to learn.
So if we're talking just on a binary, is Hannah using it right? I think you're correct. That she's not.
She is not using it
But I
correct.
don't think that you know the right answer either.
I think you're 100% correct on the latter.
I believe, and Dad, Dad, you haven't gone. I go second every time.
No, go ahead.
Well,
please.
I believe it is all intents and purposes.
Agreed.
That's what I think.
I'm with
it
Al.
is.
See, I kind of just
For
like
all
throw
intents and purposes.
I throw like a "and" sound in there, but it's not a full "and," but it could be an "of." Like I just like all
you do like a
purposes.
"nv," right?
Yeah,
you do like an
just,
"nv" just in case.
Quick,
cover
and
everything.
you wouldn't catch it if we're all just sitting around the fire. But if I'm writing it, you'd be like, "This jackass," which is bad because I write.
Jackass is probably a strong word, but yeah.
So what is the correct way, Hannah?
The correct way, I was using it incorrectly, which you all got. But the correct way is for all intents and purposes.
Yes.
It originates from English law, so dating back to the 1500s. To all intents, constructions and purposes to mean officially or effectively.
Right. So the intention and the purpose of this law was...
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
that was for writing laws.
As opposed to for all of the purposes that you have to care for very dearly, which would be intensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
You threw me for a loop for a minute, but yes.
Yeah, me too. I had to catch up.
See, that almost went over Dad's head. It went fully over mine.
You couldn't even hear the sound breaking above you.
All right. These two are kind of related. The next two. I'm going to give you 4 options, or 2 pairs, and I need you to pick the correct one of each pair. So the first set is one and the same, or one in the same. And the second pair is case in point, or case and point. So one and the same, or one in the same. And case in point or case and point.
Oh.
All right, let's break down the first one first.
You're debating about, in or and.
In or and.
Yes.
On both, but they don't have to be the same, right? They could be.
No,
they don't have to be
different.
the same.
So what's the first one?
Once again, this goes into the category of I would probably say one and then like a-n to where I could be saying and or in. I'll just say it quick enough to where you wouldn't know. But if I had to choose one, I don't want to be dad and straddle the fence, so I'm going to jump on one side. I'm going to go one
For real.
one
Yikes.
The hard call out.
Yikes.
one
Okay.
in the same. No, one and the same. I want to say and one and the same. That's what I would get. That's what I think.
I would agree with that.
LJ,
I think it's opposite. One in the same.
why?
You think it's IN?
Yes.
Why?
I mean,
yeah.
Well, I just think that's what I've read. I think it
You
probably
believe
comes from
everything
an
you've read?
older version of English. Yes, every single word that I've ever read, I totally believe. And I don't like green eggs and ham.
Well, before we get the answer to this though, one in the same. I mean, I can kind of see some meaning from that,
But if it's one and the same,
that means it's it.
Yeah,
this is one and the same. This is the point. I think I'm going and. I hear you. I think I'm
All
going
right.
and.
Well, that's Kevin's call, and then we have another one to decide.
so do we
right?
go
Or do you
ahead
wanna
and
do
throw
it
this
one?
No, I
answer,
need
or do
you
we
to
answer?
decide on both.
Okay. So
We have-
the second one was, can you do the second one real quick again?
Case and point or case in point?
Again, I think I roll case. I think I go case and again. I go and again on this one. Case and point.
I will join you on that. I will join you on that journey.
I will be 3. I'm and on both of them.
So unanimous. I disagree on the first one, but I will gladly take the captain's answer.
Well, as team captain of this team, we're gonna go with and for both. So one and the same, and
Okay.
case and point.
So the first one, it is one and the same.
So we're right.
One in the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
One in the same would literally mean that one is inside the other. If you're talking, and you're not saying like one in the same way, but, and then case in point
Wow.
means I'm making my case and this is the point I'm making it in.
So that's correct?
Case in point. Case in point is correct.
Wow.
So it's and for the first one, in for the second one.
So I was as
in
wrong
point.
as could have been wrong.
I think yes.
You couldn't have been
Kevin and I
wrong.
were half right.
Yeah.
Case and point. That's why you shouldn't listen to me.
I guess
Exactly.
that does make sense though, because like she's making the case in this point, like case in point.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I get
no,
that.
It totally, yeah,
Uh-huh.
I get that. After you say
Yeah.
that, I wouldn't have thought of it that
Well,
way. But that makes sense.
That just means you can find my case. You can find, here's where I stand. This is in here. That was I counted that as 2 questions. So we're just finished
We're at
question number
6 out of
7.
7.
Yeah, you're at 6 out
Okay.
of 7.
We're 6 out of
LJ's
7.
at
LJ's
5
5 out of 7.
Yeah.
but-
He's 5 out of 7.
All right.
That's fair.
So when you're at a meeting and someone says, here, to cheer someone on or to have people come and pay attention,
Yeah.
is that here, H-E-R-E, H-E-R-E,
Oh.
or here, H-E-A-R, H-E-A-R, or is it both of them one set after the other?
Oh.
Here.
Whoa,
Yeah,
I
like
didn't hear the
here,
third
here.
option coming. Whoa.
That's set of my brain just blowing.
So
You
is
could
it
be
like,
saying here. You
Yeah,
could be saying
yeah, you could
here.
say-
Listen in this
Exactly.
location.
Yep. Yes. Is it listen in
Use
this
your
location?
ears at this location.
Yep.
You know, if this would have
Is
been
it listen in this location,
standardized
listen?
testing back in the day, there would have been a D, all the above, and I would have been really torn with maybe just going that one, or I always guess C. So I think
Well, so
It's-
that's the cross.
alternative here. So it's going to be here as in H-E-R, everyone. Hear what I'm
No,
saying.
wait.
Wait. How do you spell here?
As in what?
What?
Her. No.
What?
Sorry. H-E-R-E. Here, everyone,
Okay.
comma. Hear what I'm saying, H-E-A-R. So I think it's alternative hears, with the first one being H-E-R.
Wait. That's a fair question, Hannah. Can we ask? Is there punctuation in the same?
Yeah, there's a comma between both words in
And
all
usually an
3
exclamation
examples.
mark.
In all 3 examples.
Because I've read this one.
Did LJ,
Which
did
is
LJ
there's a
lick
cool-
his finger when he did the exclamation point? I felt like he went, there's an exclamation point. Sorry, it's bad radio, but.
No, he just put it, no.
No, I think I just drew the explanation
Yeah.
Okay.
he just-
or
So
explanation
wait,
point.
wait. I think punctuation can give us context clues here. Time out. So there is a comma and an exclamation
So
point.
that makes
used in
sound
Yes.
as two different
say.
words.
Yes.
to me.
What?
Well, it could still be here.
That's what I think it is.
Like.
Yeah.
That's what I think it
that
is.
tone of voice,
Yeah.
I don't know what that tone of voice spells. I didn't catch that.
Hey, that's when I say, Kevin Charles Luthringer, here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I guess for the listeners at home, Dad pointed down. Kevin
Yeah.
has a good point. Is the tone of voice did not imply which one we meant.
So you were meaning location, right?
Yeah.
Liz?
So HERE,
yes.
HERE
Okay.
is what he was saying could be the answer. I
Okay.
think that is the answer.
Dad, what do you think?
I think it's here. I think it's location. I think it's location. Yeah, I think it's location, exclamation point.
Okay.
Well, as team captain, as I said before, if y'all both had one way and I had the other, I would roll with what y'all said. And we were right last time we did it. So we'll go here, both the same, like location.
Okay, so the correct usage is actually listen. So
wow, we were all wrong. Okay.
Whoa.
No way.
None of us were on that one.
So it means it originated from in the British House of Commons as the short form of hear him. So come and hear him. They don't applaud much in Parliament. So whenever they were like, yes, instead of applauding, they'd say, hear him. So listen to him.
So like saying amen, but in
Pretty much.
in Congress.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
In British Parliament.
Oh, I don't like that.
Wow.
That's not what I
what it
wanted it
Missed
to be.
that. I mean, we were.
See, I always thought it originated from hear ye. So I always thought that's what it was.
That makes sense too, though.
So that's why I would
If I
have
would
said
have thought
hear,
of that, I
hear.
would have gotten it right.
So basically,
Anyway.
the
right.
JPP guys were all wrong. We weren't even close.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's right. So you stumped the chumps.
So that's
what you
good.
did.
I did it once, so that's good. Let's see if I can do it a couple more times. The next one I have, when you're talking about you're getting in close to this thing, I'm honing in on it, or I'm homing in on it.
Ooh, I say this one.
Which word is it?
So an N or an M?
Yeah.
I use this a lot, so I hope I'm right. But I think it's honing with an N, like I'm honing in on something.
I agree, but
agree.
both make sense.
Both make
Why
sense,
does,
but I agree.
why does the other one make sense?
Like a homing missile that like chases, that totally makes sense in what you use that phrase for.
Like a homing pigeon too. You're homing in on,
Yeah. But like honing your skill with an N is what I think it comes from.
Yeah. Honing.
Yeah, we're gonna go
We
in.
agree?
We're gonna go honing. Yeah.
Okay. You're wrong.
What?
Gosh.
I know.
Shit the
It's
bed.
homing.
That's funny because we all kind of agreed that makes sense, but we
Yeah.
like the other one better.
Well, I didn't necessarily agree that it makes sense, but that's neither here nor there.
It comes from homing pigeon. It means to
We were right there.
to go back home to find the central point.
I've
Homing,
never
which is
even
why a
heard
missile,
that before, like a homing pigeon or a homing missile.
Well, which is why a missile is called a homing missile
Right.
because of the homing pigeons, because they used homing pigeons first.
But if I'm honing my craft or honing my skill, is that correct?
It is.
Yes.
That means to sharpen, like a knife. Like to
Yeah, you
hone
hone
a
a
knife.
knife. Yeah,
You
that's-
hone a knife.
so it's
but
to
you-
sharpen your skill.
Okay. Okay.
But not to
I'm
sharpen
saying-
in on it.
Yeah, you don't sharpen it.
That's like a half wrong then, isn't it? I mean, we were
Well,
close.
no,
No,
because
that
she
sounds
was
like an
asking,
all
like we were trying to get, like if you're honing in on the answer, like if you're coming, you're
That would be homing.
yeah, that would be an M, and we would have all used it incorrectly, I think,
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
before this.
Well, and
So,
the
yeah.
people, this does say that, like, I mean, I looked at several different dictionaries and stuff, and people do homing is underneath honing because honing is in the dictionary for hone in, but it's wrong, and they say that people misheard it. It's just another thing of people mishearing it and not reading it and then just going with it. But yeah, hone
sense.
in on something.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
What do you call a person that cheats at cards or that's really good at cards?
Card shark. Is that what you're looking for? Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess.
Yeah, it's 2 words.
Oh, it's
Kevin
sharp
and
or
Lane.
sharp.
I mean, do you just call him Kevin and Lane?
What did you
I
say,
mean,
Kev?
That's what they call you when you win. Us and Bill Belichick have the same problem.
When you become synonymous with dynasty, it's just rough.
So you're looking for a certain
Mm-hmm.
term that we call someone that cheats at cards.
What do y'all think?
I think it's
I
card
have something
shark.
I want to add, but I want to hear you.
I think that's what
You
I think
what
that's
it-
what we're
shark?
looking for.
I thought a card shark was just a good card player. I don't think.
Well,
of
but they usually, I think, like a shark.
Me. I would be a card.
I think
shark
a shark in both pool and cards is somebody that like plays dumb until you start putting real money on the line, and then they're like, so it's not cheating, but it's like kind of misplaying. But that might not be what we're
like a hustler. That's a hustler.
Well, yeah, I think a card shark is generally a hustler.
Card shark is the word we're debating.
And a hustler, same thing.
Okay, is there another option that we're missing? Well, I don't know. That's for us to decide.
Well, I think so.
It works for me.
I think it's card sharp because you bet against the sharps, right? In Vegas.
What are you even talking about?
It's not card sharp with a P.
With a P, so you're saying SHARP.
Are you saying card sharp with a P?
Yeah.
No.
Listeners, if you could see the faces that we're all making right now.
That's totally wrong.
No.
What's the other option? Card shark or card what?
Shart.
What? No.
Shart? No, that's a whole nother thing.
Kevin, the other option is card sharp. Kevin is absolutely correct. So you get to choose between those two.
And I think that's correct. I think
well,
card
he's
sharp.
right. That's an option, but it's not the right one. It's no.
And card foot's another option, but that doesn't make it more right.
I mean, card elbow, I guess, is an option.
What's the right way, Hannah?
It's card sharp, Kev. You're absolutely right.
What?
Yeah.
What is up?
No.
Drop. I'm not going to drop my mic because it's the only one I have and I want to break it, but just suck it.
You've redeemed yourself. Okay, so
sharp.
So this is.
Yeah, it's the sharps in Vegas. That's what they are.
What are the sharps in Vegas?
You're right. No, but the so how this word originated, people think is it comes from a German word, sharper, SCHARPER, which means swindler or hustler. And so, yeah.
What?
So that's, but
the sharps. You're betting against the sharps in Vegas.
So, wait.
I couldn't get enough of this question. I just love hearing Hannah keep going. He's right. He's right.
Kevin, you got, what are the sharps in Vegas though? That's not what she said.
Well, okay, so
are you saying the card sharp? Okay,
like,
I thought you were saying like the house. I think I get what you're saying. Is like you're playing against the card sharps in Vegas, not against like.
Yeah,
okay.
And if you're betting, you're betting against the sharps in Vegas. Like I don't know why it's sharps. I just know that's right. Like those are the people that are really good and they always beat you, and you feel like they're cheating.
What about like
that's what the card sharp is?
So is pool the same? Because there's pool sharks, right? Is that you've heard that terms? Yeah,
I'm sure it's with the P. I'm sure it's sharps.
Actually,
it's a swindler.
I looked that up.
Pool sharks gives you good imagery, though. I love the imagery of a pool shark.
True.
Yes.
It can't be a pool shark. It can't be a card shark.
I don't think so. I don't think it's a card shark.
Listeners, please write in and fix this wrong.
Stop it.
This is what happens when Kevin gets right. We just think there's no way. This is blasphemy.
Gosh, do your research, people.
It happens so
well,
rarely.
Kevin, you speak good, I speak well. So that's the reason that I have a problem with this.
Oh, man.
Well, Hannah's backing me up, and
yeah.
I'm going to go with that. So,
do you have anything on pool shark, or was that not something you?
I looked it up. Okay. Well, and they actually said pool shark is a thing because the
imagery's awesome.
Because of the imagery, because it has to do with it. It's a play on water and all that. But
is she saying pool shark? Because that's a bad thing to do in the pool. If you shark in the pool, that's horrible.
No.
I mean, it's bad anytime, but it's bad in the pool.
It just mirrors the water get murky.
Okay.
That is news to me. I've never heard that before. I will say
that was my favorite.
I bet my boy Jardy. If Jardy's listening, he knows what I'm talking about.
Well, I feel like I took a big loss on this one. Even though I think we had a better than 50% score, I just felt like a loser here. That was rough. That was good.
You should.
Yeah, that was rough.
Feel that way.
Kevin over here was a grammar sharp.
Well, and now we get to the point of the pod that we always end on. It's our going out note, and it's what we're listening to. And I'm going to go ahead and start off. So I found an old playlist. It was like a old like R&B rap playlist that was like what I listened to back in middle school, and I'm just digging it.
I saw you post that.
It was so good. I
saw you posted that.
So now I've just been listening to all kinds of different like old school music, and the main ones I shout out would be like probably Neo. There was some like Miss Independent and So Sick, and then some Usher and Little John, like Lovers and Friends showed up, and some good songs. But then
some classic.
But then
early
another song came up, and it was I knew the song, the Whisper song by the Yin Yang Twins. was a dirty song. And I was singing I was singing this song way back in the day. Like it was probably like 7th grade. I really listened to the lyrics yesterday while I was playing. That song is like, even today, I'm 24 years old and that feels like a dirty song. And I was sitting there singing along to it.
We were talking about those tweets that you wouldn't want to hear you say out loud.
Yeah.
None of that song.
If I ever posted lyrics to that on Zanga, I'm glad we can't find that because wow, that song was, whew. But just in general, some old school throwbacks. I've been jamming the past 3 days. Shout out to Burr. Burr got me on it.
What was, she posted a song or something. What started that?
She just talked about the song. She heard the song, Throw Some D's on It.
Yeah.
And that was an old school song I remember back in the day. And so I just looked up, I got on Spotify and just typed in Throw Some D's. And I didn't want to hear the song. I did want to hear the song, but I thought, I wonder if there's like a playlist of just this era of songs. And there was a playlist called Throw Some D's on It playlist. And so I was like, let's see what it is. And I just started scrolling through and they were all like, probably 90% of it were songs I listened to back in middle school. Like back when we were on, when Dad was on Monroe, we were back on Yucca just jamming. What have you been listening to, Dad?
Well, I know I've mentioned this before, but I was listening to On the Road with Dad playlist. I think I've mentioned that on this podcast.
But if not you, someone has. Yeah, that's a good playlist.
It's an excellent playlist, but what particularly, I don't know why, but it just really caught my ear was Boston, the Boston part of it. Peace of Mind and Foreplay and Long Time.
Foreplay,
More Than a Feeling. Oh, man, I just was really, really rolling on the Boston. So,
I'll really get into my high pitch singing when More Than a Feeling comes on. I'll start really trying to. I mean, it probably sounds terrible for anyone near me, but man, I'll get into it.
Well, you just turn it up real loud. Just turn the music up loud.
I'll just drown out.
So. But that's what I've been listening to.
That's a good one. I don't know much Boston. I really probably only know like the songs that are on that playlist. But man, I love them. Those are my jams. LJ, what do you got?
I've been listening to for a show I've been working on. I've been listening to. I don't know if you guys are going to like this artist a ton, but I've been listening to. He's a Japanese pianist whose name is Kashiwa Daisuke. And he does a lot of music that's just like, I think you guys would like it for writing music, but not for just like general listening music. It's really dramatic and they're like 30-minute long songs sometimes, but they're like really glitchy and cool piano, guitar, like just really emotional, powerful music. It's really raw.
Some of my go-to, like if I'm writing music or something, is either like something like that or like some jazz, like some Miles Davis or something.
Yeah. Well, think Explosions in the Sky, but more piano based and like it ran through a computer generated process that just makes it crunchier. Like it's really interesting.
Oh, I like a good crunchy. I like it when music gets a little crunchy.
Well, and I will say the cool thing about this music is like, if you think about it like a meal, like it's got all of the textures that you want. Like it's got it's chewy, it's crunchy, it's creamy. It's great. It's really awesome music. And then another song that I've been listening to.
He's the best. I know. It's like, he's the shit.
And then another song I've been listening to is there's this young upcoming singer-songwriter. His name's Jed Harrelson, and he has a song out called Generate, and that is the bomb. That is such a good song. I don't know if you guys have heard that.
My boy Jed did his thing on that.
Yeah.
That'll be posted in the show notes for show.
Yeah.
Fun fact, his brother writes beats, and you might have heard his music at the beginning of this podcast, and his other brothers are on said podcast. So he's just surrounded by talent.
There's some talent over in that fam. All right, and that'll do it for us for this week. That's all I really got. Let us know how you feel about wings, if we're right on the wings or if we were wrong, and then anything you feel that we were right or wrong on, just hit us up. As always, just press play. Peace out.
Are you just a little choked up, or you little what? You know.
Well, I get choked up around you guys. You know. It was that hat you wore earlier.
I know. I wonder how does it look with my headphones on. Let me see. Because I really wanted to wear it.
Probably not as good. Well, you can't tell how good it looked before, but that's not quite as good.
I wonder, how can I take a picture? Because this is a good picture.
You always take little screenshots and send it to us on accident.
Well, here, are y'all getting those?
I got you.
Yep.
And then take off your headphones and put the hat on so we can have a compare.
Okay. All right.
Good.
I don't know. Pretty flying, both of them, dude. What do you say?
Well, one of them looks good. The other one, it looks good if you like Woody from Toy Story as your fashion icon.
All right, this week we have Woody joining us.
If I hit the X, I won't delete that, right? I mean.